In today's video, I am going to be covering the rules of bench press. So first and foremost, the rules of bench press are slightly different across different federations. Therefore, it's probably important to know the exact rules of your federation. Today I'm going to be covering some of the differences between different federations. However, with that said, the best way to figure out the rules that apply to you is to look up the specific rules of your federation, and then you can use this video as a little bit of a visual representation of what those rules might look like in practice. In my time as a powerlifter, I have competed in 4 different federations, 2 smaller federations, 100% Raw and the APA, and I've competed in the USPA as well as the Canadian affiliate of the IPF, the CPU. The rules of these federations have been more or less the same. However, there is some slight differences that are worth covering, and I will try to cover these things the best that I can through the experience I have competing in the different federations that I have so far. The thing that separates bench press the most from just any gym bro benching in the gym to actually having a competition standard bench press is the commands. There's 3 main commands that you need to know of: the start command, the press command, and the rack command. Let's cover each of these commands individually. Starting with the start command, you are going to bring the bar out over your chest, and when the referee sees that the bar is completely motionless over your chest and that your elbows are locked out, they are going to give you a start command, indicating that you can lower the bar towards your chest. Now, they're going to want to see the bar still, so it might take a couple seconds until you get the start command, and you need to be used to holding the bar over your chest for a few seconds. Secondly, the press command, arguably the most important command, and the command that really creates the most distance between a powerlifting bench press compared to a gym lift. So once the bar is brought down to your chest and the judge can see that the bar is A, touching your chest, and B, completely motionless on your chest, the judge is going to give you a press command, indicating that you can push the bar up towards the top position again. Now, once you reach that top position and the bar is again motionless and your elbows are locked out again, the refs will give you a rack command, indicating you can place the bar back in the rack. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a starting point for commands on the bench press. Other rules that are going to be looked at are going to be up and down, your butt on the bench, in some federations, your head on the bench and your heels on the ground, and in the IPF only, bench depth. Now, once you've been given the press command, the judges are going to be looking for the bar to go upwards in a nice smooth motion. They're going to want to see that there's no up and down movement of the bar. So whether once you are given the press command, if the bar sinks into your chest more before going up, or if at any point in time during the press the bar goes down and then up again, the lift is considered a no lift. In basically every federation, you're going to have to keep your butt on the bench press in order to have a good lift occur. If your butt lifts off the bench at all, that will be deemed a no lift. Now, in some federations, there is the same expectation with your head that it stays on the bench press. However, in other federations, they allow you to lift your head. So looking up the rules of your federation and whether they require your head to be on the bench or not be on the bench is probably a pretty important thing to know going into it, especially if you are a person that does lift your head while you bench press. A lot of federations don't allow that. The same thing goes with your feet. A lot of federations require that your feet stay flat on the ground. However, there are some federations that allow you to have your heels lifted off the ground. So knowing if your federation requires you to do that or not is pretty important. I know that most federations do require you to have your feet flat on the ground. However, the USPA is an example of a federation that allows you to have your heels lifted. I would say if you're a lifter and you're trying to decide whether you should keep your feet flat on the bench press or have your heels up, I would say that the flat-footed position allows you to get more surface area on the ground and push more through the floor. So you're better off to have a flat position, even if your federation allows you to have your heels up. However, there are some lifters that find that they have a technique that allows them to lift their heels and get a better positioning for the bench press, and they choose to compete in federations that allow them to have their heels lifted. Now finally, as it pertains to the bench press, there's one rule left for me to cover. This rule only applies in the IPF and its affiliates. If you compete in any federation that is a non-IPF affiliate, this probably isn't something you have to worry about. So, when it comes to bench depth, this is a relatively new rule that has been rolled out in the last year or two. We've been, as lifters and as referees, we've seen a little bit of confusion around this rule, and people are now starting to figure it out. However, it's kind of hard to say exactly what the rule is because I feel like a lot of people still don't even know. However, as I kind of understand the rule, you want your elbows to be in at least a parallel position. Now, if you're watching your bench press from behind, it's a very good practice to take some videos from behind where you can see your elbow positioning. If you're watching your bench press and you can clearly see that your elbows are above your shoulder, you might need to change up your positioning a little bit so that you can get your elbows a little bit lower in your bench press. I feel like not many lifters are going to run into this issue. Most lifters are going to be at that parallel mark or slightly below it. But if you video yourself and you can clearly see that your elbows are above your shoulders, then it might indicate that you need to make some technique changes to be able to work around this rule if you compete in an IPF affiliate. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this clears up the rules of bench press in powerlifting. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And if you like this video and you want to see more things like this, hit the subscribe button and the like button. It kind of helps boost engagement. I'm trying to get a little more going with YouTube here, so I would appreciate any help and support.